they're going very fast and there is a delay, but I will do my best if I see anything to answer any questions and say hey. But I hope you are keeping well. I hope you're keeping safe and keeping sweet. And of a lot of the lockdown, certainly if you're in Europe or in America. So yeah, how's life? Life is really, really good, thank you. I cannot complain. I'm having a very nice day, very sweet day. The weather is encouraging. There is joy to be found, as always. I'm feeling very good, thank you so much. I am in Ireland, I'm at home. Yeah. New albums. I am working on new music all the time. I'm working on new songs. I am excited about the work I am tipping away at. I'm excited about the songs that are being made at the moment. It was an interesting, challenging time to write music. I think a lot of musicians might agree. In a lot of a time very heavy with grief and heavy with restrictions and limitations. I was writing a lot of work before the lockdown, and then I think the world sort of changed, as it does very quickly these days, and sometimes some work can seem inadequate to address what might need to be addressed. Can I speak Irish? So yeah, the album's on the way, and I'm really excited about it. I think it'll be fun. But because I did a sort of an end of the world album already, I couldn't. And then this plague hits. It was like, it was a challenge. But I can't wait to show you. I can't wait to show you what I'm working on. I'm buzzed about it, and it's kind of thrilling. What was that other question? I just missed it. Can I speak Irish? I have a few words of Irish. I have what we would call a cúpla focal, Gaeilge. So I would throw it into a few sentences here and there. I can construct a few sentences. And something that I'm looking at the moment is potentially bringing it in some way into my own work, which I think would be, I suppose, fun and interesting in a conversational sense and in a colloquial sense as well too, to bring in some form of colloquial language. Can you show us your plants? I won't today, if that's okay. Elwood is good. He's hanging in there. He's a sweet, sweet dog. Hey. The Second Coming by W.B. Yeats. I won't be reading The Second Coming by W.B. Yeats, but do by all means read it. Absolutely. They say history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes, and I think his that poem in particular just comes back time and time again. I've heard a theory, and I think Fintan O'Toole, an Irish Times journalist, wonderful journalist, might have written about this in the last year, that you can kind of judge the world's political climate by how often that poem is quoted. The Second Coming by W.B. Yeats. Happy birthday, thank you so much. Let's get started. One of the ones I've definitely read it to you is a Brendan Kennelly poem, Brendan Kennelly poem called Begin. And I suppose here we are back again, St. Patrick's Day, sort of the anniversary of lockdown, and also a birthday for me. It seemed appropriate, and it's a stunning poem, and it's evergreen in every sense of the word. So Begin by Brendan Kennelly. Begin again to the summoning birds, to the sight of the light at the window. Begin to the roar of morning traffic all along Pembroke Road. Every beginning is a promise, born in light and dying in dark determination and exaltation of springtime, flowering the way to work. Begin to the pageant of queuing girls, the arrogant loneliness of swans in the canal, bridges linking the past and future, old friends passing, though with us still. Begin to the loneliness that cannot end, since it is perhaps what makes us begin. Begin to wonder at unknown faces, at crying birds in the sudden rain, at branches stark in the willing sunlight, at seagulls foraging for bread, at couples sharing a sunny secret, alone together while making good. Though we live in a world that dreams of ending, that always seems about to give in, something that will not acknowledge conclusion, insists that we forever begin. So that is Begin by Brendan Kennelly. It's a very, very encouraging poem. I am going to read you a poem by Derek Mahon, which is a much loved Irish poem. And it was certainly, I think I remember it being summoned up by our national broadcaster at the start of this crisis. And again, here we are in springtime, and there's something encouraging about the kind of changing of the weather. This is Derek Mahon's "Everything is going to be all right." How should I not be glad to contemplate the clouds clearing beyond the dormer window and a high tide reflected on the ceiling? There will be dying, but there is no need to go into that. The lines flow from the hand unbidden, and the hidden source is the water, and the far cities are beautiful and bright. I lie here in a riot of sunlight, watching the daybreak and the clouds flying. Everything is going to be all right. So that's a much Mahon poem. Everything is going to be all right. Just a stunner. Somebody asked me there what my favourite whiskey is. It's a tricky one. There's loads that I really, really love. I have a go-to in Redbreast whiskey. I think it's fabulous. There's a Redbreast 12. I have a much older bottle of Redbreast which I might sip on this evening. There is a whiskey quite recently launched called Ferncullen, I believe, and it is made out of Powerscourt, and there is some Ferncullen whiskey at a Powerscourt estate. There's incredible distillers working there, real artists. I haven't tried their full range. They have a 10-year there, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they use corn with, which is unusual for an Irish whiskey. It's a stunner. It's absolutely beautiful. And yeah, a bit of trivia for you. I do love Middleton. Obviously, Middleton is considered the kind of Irish Porsche of you know what I mean. It's a very top tier whiskey in Ireland, and it is beautiful. And Redbreast is actually, I think it's distilled in the Middleton distilleries, if I'm not mistaken. A bit of trivia for you, all of you out there in the US or in the UK or wherever you are in Europe or further afield. I won't mention every country. The difference between whiskey and whiskey. So there's whiskey with an E, and there's just whiskey with Hisky. Usually comes from Scotland, or does come from Scotland, or is Scotch. And Whisky with an E, Whiskey, is whiskey from Ireland. And they're very different, oftentimes very different characteristics as you get to know them. Scotch might be a bit smokier, a bit kind of heavy and bold, peaty, heat and smoke. Irish whiskey sometimes associated with as kind of a sweeter taste, honey, apple, stuff like that. Maple, things like that. There's a lot of maple in things like Jameson. Well, you know, there's not actual. Okay. So yeah, for Cullen, check it out. There's loads of whiskies I could mention, and beer-wise, gotta represent Wicklow Wolf. Wherever you are, if you see it in a store, Wicklow Wolf beer is what I will be sipping on this evening, and it's locally brewed, and they grow hops locally as well too, which is awesome, and it's a wonderful business, wonderful team, and it's one of the fantastic. They're going to be carbon neutral, or in fact carbon negative within a few years, which is amazing. So I will be enjoying a Wicklow Wolf later on. Sinead Morrisey's Forgive Us Our Trespasses, and Forgive Us Our Trespasses, is a stunning poem. I might have read you before. I'm going to give it a bash. Poet from Northern Ireland, I believe. And forgive us our trespasses, Morrisey, of which the first is love, the sad, unrepeatable fact that the loves we shouldn't foster burrow faster and linger longer than sanctioned kinds can. Love that thrive on absence, on lack of return, or worse, on harm, are unkillable, Father. They do not die in us, and you know how we've tried. Loves nursed inexplicably through thoughts of sex, a return to touched places, a backwards glance, a sigh. They come back like the ride. They are with us at the terminus when cancer catches us. They have never been away. The people we love, their dragnet influence, those disallowed to us, those who frighten us, those who stay on uninvited in our loves and every night revisit us. Except from us, they stay separate. Isn't that a stunner? Yeah. So that's Sinead Morrisey, and Forgive Us Our Trespasses. There's two poems I want to read you. And one is a poem that I'm going to read you a poem by Pádraig Tuama, I should say. I'm not sure if Pádraig Tuama. Don't know why I put the H in there. Excuse me. So sorry, Pádraig. But there is this stunning podcast called Poetry Unbound. It is narrated and I believe curated by Pádraig Tuama, and it has given me such it's just stunningly curated. It is just stunningly discussed. The poems are analysed, and Pádraig Tuama gives his reading of them, gives his interpretation of them, and shares something from himself each time. I'm going to read you a poem called Prayer, which is by Faisal Mohyuddin. And it's stunning. First of all, it's not by an Irish poet, but since it's St. Patrick's Day, what you have to understand about the early missionaries, the likes of St. Patrick or St. Kevin, they would have been very, very different. Would have engaged in worship of God in a very, very different way. in their kind of hermitages. If you've heard me read St. Kevin and the Blackbird by Seamus Heaney, there's something of that perfect emptiness, that perfect quietness in that poem, which I always thought was stunning. And that's something that Faisal Mohyuddin seems to, I don't know, evoke in this. It's also just beautiful. And Pádraig Tuama, his work with Poetry Unbound led me to hear this poem, and I was in floods. And I'm going to read you also a poem by Pádraig Tuama, because he's a stunning poet. So, Prayer by Faisal Mohyuddin. You cleanse the uncovered regions of your body, then stand at the foot of prayer mats, facing the Qibla. Unfasten your cluttered mind from the tangible hold of secular. Bow down before the cascading glow of God's mercy. Submit to a centripetal course towards the gates of a more perfect emptiness. Here now you can plunge into the most secluded chamber of the soul, commune with your share of the universe's initial burst of light, eternal light housed within the lamp of mystery, waiting to be beheld 5 times a day. So that is Prayer by Faisal Mohyuddin. And I'm going to read you who introduced, well, through his work, I found that poem. Yeah, there's a lot of rooks around me. People are talking about the crows. Tell me about it. I love them, really. My dark family that live outside. So, yeah, have you read The Displaced Children of Displaced Children? I have clarity of that, but this is from The Displaced, so the poem is from Faisal Mohyuddin's work, The Displaced Children of Displaced Children. I have not yet, but I will. So, sorry if you guys have been sending me questions. It's moving by so fast. It's hard to kind of catch them. This is How to Be Alone by Pádraig Tuama. It's beautiful. Thanks for sticking around. This is super fun, and we haven't done this in a long time. How to Be Alone, Pádraig Tuama. It all begins with knowing nothing lasts forever. So you might as well start packing now. In the meantime, practice being alive. There will be a party where you'll feel like nobody's paying you attention, where attention's all you'll get. What you need to do is to remember to talk to yourself between these parties. And again, there will be a day, a decade, where you won't fit in with your body, even though you're in the only body you're in. You need to control your habit of forgetting to breathe. Remember when you were younger and you practiced kissing on your arm? You were onto something then. Sometimes harm knows its own healing. Comfort knows its own intelligence. Kindness too. It needs no reason. There is a you telling you another story of you. Listen to her. Where do you feel anxiety in your body? The chest? The fist? The dream before waking? The head that feels like it's at the top of the swing, or the clutch of a gut like falling and falling and falling? It knows something. You're dying. Try to stay alive. For now, touch yourself. I'm serious. Touch yourself. Take your hand and place your hand someplace upon your body and listen to the community of madness that you are. You are such an interesting conversation. You belong here. So that is How to Be Alone by Pádraig Tuama. I'm not sure how this is printed in other spaces or on other mediums. I have seen it printed, the title as How to Belong, which is crossed out. Belong is crossed out. How to Be Alone is written after it. Beautiful poem. I think I really maybe only have time for one more. And it's a Paula Meehan poem. Paula Meehan. And yeah, if you have any questions, send them my way. It's so nice to hear from you. And I thank you for all the sweet, sweet messages and all the hellos and all the happy birthdays. Yeah. What's my fave colour? I don't really have one. I like blue. I like green. I like green at the moment. Yeah. It's going by too fast. I wish I could pause these questions. I mean, I can. Guess what? I'm fucking new to TikTok. I haven't a clue what this platform is about. But I can scroll through the comments. Look at that. Okay. Progress. Isn't that a sweet thing? Can you post the titles of the poems you read today somewhere? Yeah, absolutely. That can be done. And I think they will be split up if I can save this. They will be split up and probably reposted again. That's why I'm worried that I mispronounce a line or misread these poems. Or just read them badly, which is more likely. So I do worry about that. It's beautiful work and it should be represented as beautifully as possible. Have I gotten the vaccine? I have not. But time enough for that, I do have antibodies, which is of some comfort for the moment, and I'm being very careful. Are you dropping an album soon? I will speak to you soon about that, or I'll speak to you as soon as possible about that, but I'm working on music, but be a moment before you hear from me on it, but I'm super excited about it. Will I be watching The Falcon and The Winter Soldier? I don't know. I enjoy elements of I don't know. I don't know. I don't watch a huge amount. I don't make a lot of time for watching TV, but I should. And when I do, it's like I'm kind of in the middle of a series at the moment anyway. Do you love being a Pisces? I've known nothing else. So it's like asking me, do I like being alive? That's essentially what you just asked me there. And it really has its moments, I do. Do I love being a Pisces? Yeah, you know what? I love having my birthday in March, and I love having. I lucked out. My birthday's on Patrick's Day. I always had a day off in school. It's a national holiday here. All my mates are off work, so I can say hi to them and give them a call, and so I'm super lucky. And everyone's not obviously in a lockdown, but what happened there? What's going on? Oh my goodness. Okay. Am I a Star Wars fan? Yeah, I mean, I grew up big time on the original 3 films. Big time. Every toy, you name it. So, of course, I have a lot of love for that franchise. My stomach is rumbling. Wow, I hope you don't hear that. I'm a bit hungry. So the last poem I'm going to read you is Seed by Paula Meehan. Actually, you know what? I'm going to read you Stephen James Smith's poem because I love his work so much. I'm going to turn on the lights here because it's getting super dark. And if you're hanging out and you're not in a hurry, I'm going to read you 2 poems. Here we go. It's a bit brighter. Yeah, it got dark there, didn't it? What's with this sunglass carry-on? Like, did I do that? I feel like I'm 80 years old. This is Dublin You Are by Stephen James Smith. Obviously the streets are empty this St. Patrick's Day, but I associate St. Patrick's Day with television feeds from Dublin and people having a right royal re-raw agus rula bula, which is, I'm just kidding, just a party. So Dublin You Are with Stephen James Smith. He's just an amazing talent, a fantastic talent, and an absolute gentleman. Dublin You Are, grey brick upon brick, full of tarmac and hipster pricks. Just face it, all other places pale in comparison. You are more than some former Saxon garrison. Dublin, your warmth came too late for John Corrie. Dublin, are you even sorry? Dublin, you are divided by more than the Liffey. You said yes to equality. And it's about blooming time. Yet Dublin, you always proclaimed to cherish all. Dublin, your panties are on Capel Street, compromising any papal feats. Dublin, Jedward, awkward. Dublin, you are more than a settlement on the Poddle. But Dublin, what's the crack with coddle? It's shite, why don't we just admit it? Dublin, you brought back Sam again, but Dublin, when did you go from the clash of the ash to exchanging gold for cash? Dublin, Difflin, Iblana, Bolya, Haclea, and 180 other tongues your citizens are using to name you. So Céad Míle Fáilte to all. Dublin, where power is held by too few in the Dáil. Dublin, when will you revolt again? 1988 wasn't your true millennium, despite the 50p's and milk bottles. Dublin, you're mine, but I'm happy to share you. Dublin, from RTE, TCD, UCD, U2, SIP, TU, IFSC, the acrimonious Temple Bar STDs, ODs and OMGs, no longer the second city, yet you play second fiddle to Google and Guinness, to Facebook and unsociable twits. Dublin, look at yourself. Dublin, your tower blocks and tenements are an excuse for a solution. Dublin, come here till I tell you. You can be more than rapid dirt birds and banjacks bowsies. Alright story bud, and yeah, sure it's all good. Jesus, that's scaldy. Why go baldy? I'm Ixira and Delira. Dublin, I cry for you. Dublin, you're a tough bastard, yet full of the softness of all the people on your streets. Margaret Dunn dancing on O'Connell Street, the Diceman Tom McGinty miming on Grafton Street, Pat Inglesby with his poems on Westmoreland Street, and your Mollys, Malone, Ivors and Bloom, the Daily Sally Sandy Mounts, from the Gospel of Kelly, Drew, McKenna and Sheehan, to Borstal boys like Brendan Behan, two gallants rejoicing, to Evelyn looking out to sea, snow falling slowly on the dead in Glasnevin, Glenn and Marquita once strolling, to Christy Brown wilfully controlling a foot, to paint pictures and poems, to your heroines, Brenda Fricker, the city's mother, Maureen O'Hara, an enchanting other. Dublin, you are boom and bust, running wild and swift. Dublin, can I trust you? Dublin, your true blue is Harry Clark's cobalt. Dublin, from a thin Lizzie, Dicey Riley, to a floozy in a jacuzzi, God-fearing. Dublin, shooting down Veronica Guerin. Dublin, you are Bang Bang, 40 Coats, Zosimus, a blind street poet. Dublin, you are all of us, and all who are yet to come. So let's go to the grave diggers and have a pint. Dublin, remember Stardust and all your waltzing lovers. Dublin, Big Jim's arms are outstretched to a risen people. Yet are we under the thumb again? Dublin, your GPO columns are scarred from the crackle of gunshots. Dublin, your CCTV will never yield your essence like the shots of Arthur Fields man on bridge. You are the Poolbeg Towers. You are the poor showers begging on Bachelor's Walk. Dublin, you're all talk, yet you have my attention. From Robbie Keane to Paula Meehan, Dublin's calling, ooh ah Paul McGrath, while some say up the Ra, Dublin, bridging caps with Joyce and Beckett, and finally to Rosie Hackett. Dublin, Paddy Finnegan was forced to sell the big issue on your streets, while Daffodil Mulligan was played to baron beats. Dublin, you say delish. Dublin, you are full of Polish and Brazilians speaking Portuguese, and now the Chinese have turned Parnell Street into Chinatown. Dublin, don't let them down. Dublin, don't forget no blacks, no dogs, no Irish. Dublin, perish the thought of you being racist. Dublin, Cuchulainn has fled the GPO and heading for Monto. Dublin, your bay embraces despite the Sellafield Sea, and your mountains frame all your natural beauty. Dublin, a wailing banshee stricken with TB. Dublin, you're a European, but could Dublin, you're European, but could be Craggy Island in disguise. Gabriel Conroy is heading west because of an epiphany. Just saying, Dublin, you only painted your post boxes green. Is the Abbey doing all you dreamed? Dublin, you are notorious for clampers, senators and seagulls, to Celtic tiger and septic tanks, to singing high kings and rampaging Vikings. Dublin, come here. Take me for a teddies and a romantic stroll down the pier. Dublin, you are a dancing place, a sprawling space of villages and many faces on the edge of an island that's eroded by the Atlantic, battling with being romanticised. Dublin, are you dynamic, struggling with identity, changing for us? Dublin, don't be scared to change. Don't be scared, we're with you always. Dublin, my friend, my home, mentioned 50 times in this poem. We live in you, my city, Machri. I love you most of the time. You see, Dublin, you are me. A stunning work by Stephen James Smith, which I did absolutely no justice to there. So I do apologise to Mr. Stephen James Smith. It's worth reading. There's a huge amount of references within the words to, I suppose, cultural figures and historical figures. Also, folks, I'm not a fan of these sunglasses being thrown at me while I'm trying to read poems here. What's going on? What's happening? Is that you doing that? Is that me doing that? Again? What's going on? I feel like an 80-year-old. Haven't a clue. Seen a lot of references to the Handsome Squidward filter. It's actually the next album theme, so your hunger for it will be satiated. I promise you that. So, finally, Seed by Paula Meehan, who is referenced in that previous poem. I do thank you all. If I see any questions, I'll try to answer it. There is work on the way. I can't wait to share it with you. Can't wait to play shows for you again, wherever in the world that may be. It's been a very strange year, strange 12 months, but we have everything to look forward to and all of our lives to celebrate and party and get up to mischief, which we will. And I suppose this is an appropriate poem to end on. Seed by Paula Meehan. The first warm day of spring, and I step out into the garden from the house where hope had died, to tally the storm damage, to seek what may have survived, and finding some forgotten lupins I'd sown from seed last autumn, holding in their fingers a raindrop, each like a peace offering or a promise. I am suddenly grateful, and would offer a prayer if I believed in God, but not believing, I bless the power of seed, its casual, useful persistence, and bless the power of sun, its conspiracy with the underground, and thank my stars the winter's ended. So that is Seed by Paula Meehan. I want to say thank you very much for hanging in there with me. a little bit longer than I had thought. And I should have asked the permission, I have to say, of Paula, Meehan, Stephen James Smith. I did not. I feel like a cheeky git. I'm so sorry. Please check out their work. Please read their work. Please purchase their work if you can. Of everyone mentioned here, Pádraig, Tuama. I mentioned the there's so much more I would read. There's so many poets whose work really I would read here and represent if I had more time. It is my birthday and I have to call some people and say hi to some folks. But thank you so much for joining me. It's a pleasure to say hi. It's a pleasure to hear from you. It's a joy to hear from you. And I hope you're keeping safe and you are being kind to yourselves and being kind to one another. We've all had a weird 12 months. Any advice for aspiring Irish musicians, or any musician for that matter? My God, these shades. Any musicians for that matter. Like a lot of the lessons of writing music, it's a never ending. You're never gonna get to a point where you arrive. You're always going to doubt yourself. I would say trust what it is that you love about music. Trust what it is that you bring to whatever field it is that you're doing. And be honest to that and represent that as best as you can. Put the time in if you need to, put the work in if you need to. And yeah, trust that you know what you want and spend time with that. And try to back yourself. I think there's certain things in life, whether certain things in life are far too costly not to endeavour to chase after. He said with fucking shades on his face, digital, two-dimensional, pixelated shades. But some things in life are too costly not to go for, and that could be a life in the arts, or a creative endeavour, or a job opportunity, or a romantic endeavour, and it will just cost too much to live your whole life wondering if you hadn't tried it, if you hadn't done it. That was always my biggest fear. That was the unthinkable. You can try and fail, and be proud of that. You know, it's that Samuel Beckett fail better thing. Fail again, fail better. I think it's like fail no matter, fail again, fail better. Ever tried, ever failed, no matter. Just do it and throw yourself at it. Throw yourself at it with 2 feet. Fuck me, this fucking stuff. I will speak to you soon. Look after yourselves. Take care. Happy St. Patrick's Day, and thanks for saying hey. It's been a pleasure to just catch up. Look after yourselves, and as always, thank you so much for your support, for hanging out, and for listening to the work if you're listening to it. And I look forward to seeing you at a show soon. Oh, my love. Bye-bye. Oh yeah, first time on TikTok. I don't know how to